Welcome, I'm Christina Whitney, a studio educator with Handi Quilter. We are going to start part 7 of the Heartfelt whole cloth quilts. Today we're going to be working on some curved crosshatch. So I want to clarify something just to make sure that I'm not confusing anybody. If you look at the way I am stitching this out, if you took the horizontal line going down the center, see how it divides these hearts in half? If you look at the Heartfelt quilt map, it's oriented the opposite direction. So I am actually stitching mine sideways. And so that might be something that you will need to take into consideration as you're working on your quilt. If you're following the map, it might get a little confusing if you do it the wrong direction. Okay, before we start working on the curved crosshatch, I'm going to do some marking. The marking's not set in stone, it's just a guideline to help me remember where I'm going and to try to keep things somewhat balanced and lined up. So in the directions, we are on page 5 now, and in step 1, it says that the height of the curved crosshatch section should be about 4 inches high. So what I'm going to do is take just a regular ruler, and I'm going to turn around so that I have my 4-inch marks, and I'm going to put the 4-inch just kind of lined up centered through the wiggle wave. And my curved crosshatch is going to start on this point, so I'm going to line that 4 up right there, and then line it up all the way down. Okay, and the curved crosshatch is going to come up and down, so the ending is going to be here. It's on my 6-inch mark. So I'm going to divide that in half and put a little mark here, and that will be the tip of my curved crosshatch. So when I take the ruler, this is a rough drawing, but I can draw down there and then come around to the other side. And that kind of gives you a rough estimate of the outside of what we're going to be stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and mark all of the different sections, and then we'll come back and stitch. I'm going to come over to the side of my line right at the tip of my wavy line that I'd already stitched. I'm going to do a tie off there. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my curved crosshatch template. I'm going to line it up with the chalk mark that I already created. And remember, I want to be 1/4 of an inch away from that chalk mark. And this is, again, just a guideline, it's not exact. And then I also want to have this center line kind of in between the two. So then I'm going to stitch along here. Go ahead and stop at the chalk mark. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So I still have the curved crosshatch bumped up against my hopping foot, and then I'm going to come down. My mark is this side of the red tape, so making sure I'm 1/4 of an inch from there, making the center line approximately halfway, and we're going to do some contortionist quilting here and see if I can hold the ruler from this side so you can still see. Shift it just a little bit there. Not bad. Okay, now I'm going to do the fill inside that section. And you can do your fills 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, whatever works for you. I think I'm going to try out the 1/2 inch and see how that turns out. So I'm going to travel on my wiggle line, and I'm actually going to use the side of this crosshatch just to kind of keep things steady. Okay, so I'm eyeballing again 1/2 an inch, but then I'm going to use the ruler and line it up on the second line, which is the dotted line. And it looks like I need to still shift a little bit further. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, and if I block your view, I apologize, but I'm supposed to try to have safety first when we're doing our ruler work. Okay, I'm just traveling up to my stitch line. And I'm going to travel about 1/2 inch. I need to go a couple more stitches. Maybe I went a little far. Okay, so I think I got it there. And I think this is a ruler that needs to have some ruler base or handy grip on it. So I might take a break here and get some handy grip put on there, and then we'll come back and stitch some more. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and again travel. And if you don't want to have travel lines, you can do a tie off. Okay, so we got about one side done. Now let's work on the other side. So I'm gonna travel back down. So now I want to be 1/2 inch off from this stitch line. So we're gonna line the dotted section up on our previous stitch line. A little harder to see it through the handy grip. Make sure you stop at that last line and don't overshoot too much. Okay, so that is one full crosshatch section. We've got, I believe, 11 more to go. So I'm gonna get to work on those. If you haven't found this problem already in your ruler experience, you're probably gonna come across it with this curved crosshatch ruler doing these sections going all the way around. You're gonna find places where it's really awkward to hold a ruler and to keep it in position. So try different positions with your hand. Sometimes you'll be around the back of the machine, sometimes you'll be in the front, sometimes you'll use your fingers, sometimes your hand will be flat. One thing that you want to remember though is that if you do not have control, you need to stop the machine and move so that you are in a better position. So remember, you can always stop, and I do recommend that you have it in a needle down position when you stop. That way the machine doesn't accidentally move on you while you're doing that. So I've finished all of the curved crosshatch, and I'm really excited how it is turning out. I can't wait to see what we get to do in part 8.